Well, well, well. Sadiq Khan, remember him? Sir Sadiq Khan, soon enough. My blood pressure, I tell you. He's the gift that keeps on giving. The London Mayor has decided to ban an advert from the National Farmers Union. The people who keep our bellies full are now public enemy number one for daring to raise awareness about Labour's family farm tax. But hold your horses. Khan's Transport for London, they had no issue plastering the tube with ads from Pensioner Harmer Starmer's assisted dying campaign. They had no problem with the vegan brigade being wall-to-wall, or even a controversial Islamic preacher holding a briefcase full of burning US dollars and other political causes. They're all good, apparently, but farmers, you barber-clad far-right fascists, do one. Too politically controversial, apparently. This isn't about advertising policy. This is about silencing anyone who doesn't march to the lefty drum. Khan's London is all about pushing the agenda, and that includes silencing dissent to the covering of the countryside in solar panels that work about as well as Starmer's sycophancy towards Lord Ali. Hearing from the people who actually feed us is apparently just too much for the delicate sensibilities of Labour's London-dwelling elite. The NFU had 40,000 quid set aside to spread the word about British farmers being the backbone of this country. Now, instead of a little poster campaign, we're left with the usual. Labour's posturing political pygmy, trying to shut down anyone who dares to disagree. Well, guess what, Sadiq? You can try to silence the farmers, but you'll just make their voices even louder. I look forward to the next protest. And as for your knighthood, well, I wouldn't risk telling you where you can put your medal. I'd be banned from the tube for life. Well, he gets my blood pressure going. I don't know about any of... I don't even live in London, but he gets my goat.
You know, I'm a born and bred Londoner, I say it all the time. And this city has gone so far downhill since he's been mayor. And, of course, he's the police and crime commissioner for the city as well. And look how that's gone. We've got thefts every 10 minutes of people with their mobile phone out in the city, let alone the rise in knife crime and other violent crimes. The man is completely devoid of any political astuteness whatsoever. Obviously, he's kept up those advertisements of I think it's a gambling site or a money transfer site that show that Islamic cleric who has made homophobic and many other comments in the past. So this is just, again, you know, he's not able to get rid of that one, but he's able to stop this one. I mean, you know, what does that tell you? It's all political, isn't it, despite him saying that it isn't? Yeah, that controversial cleric ad was outrageous. I don't know if you remember it, Chloe, from back in not too distant past. But the fact of the matter is, you know, they're saying you can't have political ads and it's a blanket ban. It's clearly not a blanket ban.
It's only when it suits them. I mean, it seems to me that at the moment, the Labour Party is doing as much as they possibly can to make rural communities despise them. They're really showing themselves with every move to be a metropolitan elite. We had the inheritance tax on farmers that, you know, we saw them all protesting on Whitehall. We then had them announcing the other day that they want to ban the Boxing Day trail hunting, which I think will achieve absolutely bugger all, aside from annoying everybody in rural areas. And now this, Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London, from the Labour Party, saying we don't like this advert because it's pro-farming.
I mean, Charlie, the reason they want it in London is because obviously that's where all of the policy makers reside, you know, especially during the week. So why do you think this deliberate curtailment of a farmer's rights to protest and actually the union, this is the party of unions, but not apparently when it comes to rural affairs?
Well, that's absolutely right. And it goes to the heart of this two-tier policing situation where you can see protests take place for a particular cause, weekend after weekend, grinding London to a standstill. But poor old farmers that keep food on the table, that keep the nation fed and watered, don't get a look in.
Yes.
And, you know, this is a guy who everybody pointed to say, look at London. It's lawless London, crime is up. You know, they lost a by-election in Uxbridge because of that terrible ULEZ policy that does absolutely nothing for the environment, just as tax on drivers. You know, people were looking at Sadiq Khan as the Labour leader of London, that is now something that is that has gone on to the Labour Party to lead the UK. You know, the UK is suffering from Sadiq's drain.
Yes, I do. Before we move on to Benjamin Butterworth, which I'm sure you all can't wait for, I do have to apologise for Chloe's potty mouth there. Apparently she said a naughty word.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did she?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
word, the B word.
Yeah, Butterworth.
Yes, it was Butterworth. It was.
Butterworth.
Benjamin, you must admit that this is naked politics.
No, I won't admit anything. Well, look, we had an election in London only a matter of months ago, and Sadiq Khan was returned overwhelmingly against a woman called Susan Hall, who's probably not the most famous woman in her own house. So it's clear that Londoners like Sadiq Khan. You know, it continues to be a metropolitan, modern, global city, and I, for one, love it. Even if all of you lot like your little England ways, I like it.
So why are all the rich saying, I'm done with this, I'm off, I'm going to go to the United States where the tax rates are better and I'm not being stabbed to death on the streets?
Well, they're not all saying that at all. We had £60 billion, and that's billion, of investment in this country, the highest ever from an investment summit. But on the question of farmers, you know, these are farms worth most likely more than £3 million that will be affected. And you have seen rich people, Jeremy Clarkson is one of them, who have been buying up thousands of acres of farmland. And what does that do to the price for young farmers? It means they can't afford to buy land. I'm glad that someone is bridging that gap and making it easier for young people to get on the ladder, and for Jeremy Clarkson, who told the Sunday Times in 2021, that he was doing it to avoid inheritance tax. Good.
Yes,
slap
no,
him.
he was talking about building a shoot. He was building a shoot, not the farm. And now he's got the farm. He's saying this isn't about someone like him. He's rich enough to take the hit. This is about the family farmer who don't agree with you, despite the fact you're making the argument saying that they're the ones this policy is for. They're saying that this will deny them the opportunity to take on their family farm.
Do you know what? I think people have a lot of problems at the moment, and the idea that the biggest threat this country faces is those with more than £3 million of assets being asked to pay half the inheritance tax of everyone else on a higher rate over a 10-year period. I think the country has got bigger bills to fill than wealthy aristocratic landowners.
You say this about pensioners. You make out that because they've got assets, it's not their fault that the house prices have gone up.
It's not my fault either, is it?
It's not farmers' fault, but you want to damage food security and pensioners' livelihoods.
It's not farmers' fault, but I tell you what,
screw loose. I really do.
It's rich landowners' fault that are buying up all the land to avoid inheritance tax and cutting out the farmer himself.
Okay.
Still watching? Well, I've got a quick ask for you. Recent UK, we're fighting the woke brigade and inspiring young Brits, but we need your help to go bigger. We're hosting a fundraiser and would love you to sign up and share the link on the big day. It's easy, it makes a massive impact, and there are prizes for top fundraisers. Click the Google form in the description to join us. Cheers very much. Let's keep going together.